So for you Geminis, you have the Six of Swords, the Hanged Man, and then you have the Two of Pentacles. So um the Six of Swords, these three cards right here, the Six of Swords, the Hanged Man, and the Two of Pentacles, is really about how you Geminis are planning to really, the next time if you want to get yourself into a relationship or get to know somebody romantically, a lot of you Geminis sitting back and really thinking about what is going to be the long-term effects of you really doing that. These three cards are really about how you Geminis are looking before you leap. You're not necessarily into, just making very fast decisions. A lot of you Geminis over the years have learned to go from being sporadic and all over the place to learning how to actually think about a situation and be 3 steps ahead of a lot of other people. Like it is, as I said before, the zodiac signs are changing. I've seen a huge leap. Like there's been a huge leap from 2017. There's been a huge leap from 2019 when I talked about the profile, right? And then even in 2021 when I started this YouTube channel, how I talked about the differences between each zodiac sign and what, you know what I mean, how to understand them. And a lot of y'all don't be acting like that today. A lot of y'all don't act like that. I mean, you can in certain instances, but a lot of the zodiac signs don't be acting like that anymore. That's more of a foundation of now what it looks like when you have someone who's not really in tune with themselves, right? So a lot of you Geminis are going to look before it is that you leap. You're going to pay attention to see the quality of the person. See, a lot of times what's the problem is a lot of people are not really checking for the quality. They just so quick to rush into a relationship because they feel like they have to make up for lost time. And that's part of what makes a lot of the times relationships not work today. It's the fact that you Geminis, you've learned from your mistakes. But see, a lot of people are not learning from their mistakes. And part of the reason why they end up having things where it's crunch time once they reach to a certain age, that goes on both sides, by the way, is because they not really been paying attention to where the time went. They just been thinking, oh, I'm young and I'm cool and everything is going good for me, so I can do whatever it is that I want when I want to. They're not really looking for it from a perspective of, well, technically they can do whatever it is that they want to, but can that happen when they interact with somebody else on that kind of romantic level? They act like they're dysfunctional when they're young, and then now they waste their time all the way up to the point where they should have been getting themselves together. They should have been set. Now they want to go ahead and make up for lost time, like I was talking about. So the Queen of Cups and the Ace of Wands is about how, and this is what, this is what it is that you Geminis, like I said, you've learned from your mistakes, and to a certain extent, you Geminis have been making up for. This is much more about what it is that you've learned and what it is that you wish that you would have learned when you were younger. But this also represents how if you Geminis actually have a chance, you're going to tell either your daughters or like your sons, and you know what I mean, maybe even, the little ones, if you ever get a chance to not continue to do this stupid stuff that the majority of adults are doing. Whenever it is that I myself even get a chance to, right, because parents, introduce me to the kids and stuff like this, I try to go ahead and let them know, hey, grow up to be decent. You know what I mean? Grow up to be a well-rounded, on both sides. I tell both sides that. Grow up to be decent. Grow up to be well-rounded adults. Grow up to be individuals that, you will be proud to really look at yourself in the mirror. Don't get caught up with, when you're growing up, no matter what your influences are, no matter what other people out here doing, really peep game and pay attention to the people that's out here, and really pay attention if that's how it is that you want your life to turn out. So that's what a lot of you Geminis, will want to say too, right? And the Ace of Wands represents here that you're just using this to your advantage. You're using the knowledge that you have to your advantage. You know how to choose people a lot better compared to how you used to, or much better compared to how you used to. You know, I want to say 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe even 10 years ago, it might have been for the thrills, but now a lot of you Geminis are not picking only for the thrills, because there's this misconception that if a person is a decent person, that they're boring, right? And that there's nothing thrilling about them, which is completely not true. Like, if I was to tell y'all Geminis, like, I'm perceived as boring by a lot of people, right? If I was to tell y'all some of the things that I've done, there's no, like, what people consider to be exciting and what I consider to be exciting is two different things. I'm using myself as the example, right? You be your own example. The Five of Pentacles and the Nine of Cups is about, because a lot of you Geminis are getting, more serious. Kendrick is a Gemini. Amanda Nunez is a Gemini. And like it is, Tupac was a Gemini. Biggie was kind of on that cusp. And this is what I mean when I say that, a lot of y'all Geminis have that mix of, like, that's part of the problem. Like, y'all be having a lot of great potential, but then sometimes people don't really know if y'all really serious about them or not. You know what I mean? And but make no mistake about it, when you Geminis are for real about something, a lot of y'all be having a creativity about y'all that, a lot of people don't really take into consideration. A lot of people don't really see coming or take into consideration that, oh, okay, you actually be, you actually stand for something. Now, the Five of Pentacles and the Nine of Cups represents, this represents the quality of the relationships that you've had, and how, like I said, you've learned a lot. And, like, Venus has such an interesting interaction with Mercury. It's not even funny. Venus, the planet of love, has such a very interesting relationship with that planet. It's not even funny, Geminis can find love easier than Virgos can, but then Geminis and Virgos are ruled by the same planet, Mercury. But Venus kind of has like a difficult relationship with Mercury every now and again, because Venus, like I said before, Venus is like a trickster figure, but then so is Mercury, where Mercury is more so, they want to do things by the book, right? Like, a person has to legitimately be interested in you. Otherwise, the Mercury is not going. And the Venus is more so like, well, let feelings take the way. And what Mercury is trying to say is, no, we can't just let feelings take the way 100%, because feelings are erratic, and they're sometimey, and they're not really sustainable like that. And that if you're talking about feelings, they all can most definitely sway and be manipulated. So what does this have to do with it? Is the fact that a lot of you Geminis are very much so, like, really looking at it, what this means for you. And this is about how, like it is, I said before, what love is. And a lot of you have been, a lot of y'all really do deserve another chance to really find a relationship and be happy with your position, because a lot of you really have been putting in the work. A lot of you Geminis have went from, being kind of like hard to get to, hard to understand, intentionally hard to deal with, and stuff like this, and interacting with, and hard to interact with, to now being more straightforward, and now letting people in on some of your pain and what's been going on with y'all specifically, to where other people can now stop looking at you Geminis like y'all just can't be taken seriously like that because y'all play too much, y'all do too much, to now where people can go, okay, they can take you seriously now. So now it's like, this is what it is I've been saying for weeks about different zodiac signs, like that I don't think a lot of zodiac signs really understand, right? You Geminis will probably understand, but this is what I'm talking about. It's this huge shifting, it's this huge changing of the guard, where it's like y'all want to be taken seriously and y'all are taking yourselves seriously. So it's like, you know, people have to change the course of how it is that they treat you now. Now it's not just about you just laughing and joking and stuff like this. You could laugh and joke, of course. Y'all are still be clowning, just like Kendrick Lamar did to Drake. Y'all be still clowning, no doubt. But at the same time, when it's time for y'all to roll up y'all sleeves, a lot of you Geminis are going to really convey a message and make and bring across that message to where people can really understand. And because of that fact, the fact that you carrying yourself differently, people changing the way that they interact with you is what I'm trying to say. This is the thing, a lot of zodiac signs, I'm saying it to them, but they're not really comprehending what it is that I'm saying, right? That this is not just about what's currently happening. This is about what's happening for the future. The fact that you Geminis are changing to more take me seriously. I can laugh and talk and have fun, but also take me seriously. And if you don't, you're missing out. And that's the impression that y'all are giving off. And the temperance represents, this is Sagittarius. The temperance is Sagittarius, your opposite zodiac sign, right? So you're using wisdom. And this speaks to the level of wisdom that a lot of you Sagittarius have, where it's like you're using a very wise approach. A very wise approach, where it's like, this is how it is that you actually attain the stuff that you're talking about, right? You know, Gemini sometimes, Geminis rule over knowing a little bit about everything. But as Geminis, the next step of education for y'all is Sagittarius. This is why it is that I said you got to understand your own zodiac sign, and then you got to understand the polar opposite zodiac sign to it. So if you're a Gemini, you study Gemini, but then you also have to study what it's like being a Sagittarius, because you're pulling from that opposite polarity too. Y'all are on the same axis, right? So Sagittarius rules over wisdom, right? Wisdom is the ability to understand how things can go, and how that happens is from deep level understanding of knowledge. That you had people who come here respectfully to the YouTube channel, and they'll give me a little bit of a difficult time, which I do not have a problem with whatsoever. But they misunderstand what Gemini is, and they misunderstand what Sagittarius is. They think that Sagittarius is the street smarts, and that Gemini is the book. No, it's not. Sagittarius rules over scripts. It rules over writing. It rules over publishing books, rap songs, music. Like when they say that people write their own lyrics to a song or rap or whatever, all of that is Sagittarius. Why? Because you're getting it copyright written. Anytime somebody copyrights something, that's Sagittarius. Anytime somebody writes something down, that's Libra, and that's also Sagittarius. Especially if you start talking about bringing money into the equation, that's Libra and Sagittarius, right? Because Libra rules over all forms of scripts. Now, the reason why I'm saying that like that is because of my level of understanding of it. Sagittarius does not know a whole lot of street smarts. That's why Sagittarius will get tricked. Gemini rules over street smarts, because y'all, a lot of the times, y'all hit the streets if y'all want to learn things that can't be written down in the book. What do? Y'all get up and y'all hit the streets. Y'all bless the pavement, right? But the thing about it is with the Gemini thing, y'all gotta understand how to sometimes you can't learn everything from asking people and talking to people. Sometimes it has to deal with you studying something, not necessarily looking at things just for face value and laughing and joking and not wanting to get too deep into it. Sometimes you're going to have to get deep into it in order to know what you're talking about. So why that's important in the first place is because this is how you get the kind of relationships that you've been craving. You Geminis are not going to get it from being, you don't get into a relationship from being jovial and just light and never wanting to dive into too deep of anything. That's how you get friends with benefits. That's what friends with benefits is. You don't ever want to dive into anything too deeply. You don't ever want to, you want to take them out on dates a couple times a month, talk to them about nothing deep, basketball games and things that are light and loose, limber and stuff like this. And that's cool in the short term at the beginning of the relationship. When you start getting longer into the relationship, now it has to be more than just about basketball games. It can't just the essence or the topic of the conversation just can't be about basketball games, what Kendrick is doing to Drake, or how Kendrick is torturing Drake and all this other type of stuff. You know what I'm talking about though, right? It has to actually be about something serious. Like, where are you going in the next 5-10 years? Where are they going? Are the two of you like that? Are the two of you growing together in the same location? Are the two of you actually, does the two of you share similar values as well? So now the Hermit and the King of Wands now represents how, and that's another thing too, that's going to require inner work that a lot of you Sagittarius have been doing. So the King of Wands now represents, so when you see someone who starts acting like they don't have any kind of common sense, that goes to show you the kind of value that they have. A lot of times what will happen is you'll have couples that will divorce from one another, right? And then they'll put it out there like, oh my gosh, like, they divorced the good partner, right? And it's like, oh, well, it's okay to divorce them. And it's like, yeah, yes, it is, but it is with a certain mind frame, right? Because it depends ultimately, right? Like, the values changed. That's what happened. The values changed. One person, when you listen to it, a lot of times when people get divorced, one person's value, it went from being the two of them growing together to now the values started to split apart, because one person's values started to be about the streets and getting attention and attention hogging and trying to see how many people they can get thirsty and desperate for them, while at the same time the other person is still doing what it is that they're supposed to be doing. So, the King of Wands now represents, so like, when you see someone trying to get on you for that, a lot of you Geminis, will know that that's not necessarily the kind of person that you can take seriously, because you Sagittarius know that what you're looking for is a strong foundational relationship. So let's clarify this Temperance. So overall for you Geminis, this is more so about, like it is that I've been saying for the past couple of weeks, this transformation that a lot of you have been making, and that a lot of you Sagittarius are still changing. You're going from a zodiac sign in a general sense that can't be taken seriously because you always cracking jokes. You don't know if you're being serious. You only investigate things shallowly, and because of that, people can't take you seriously because you need to get involved. To now, you Geminis getting involved and not being afraid of getting involved, and actually willing to really do the work. And if you get hurt, then you get hurt. You're not going to sit around and cry and whine over it forever. You are planning on bouncing back and continuing to get to know other people, which is an amazing thing. It's a huge rebound for y'all. It's a huge, a lot of you Geminis are up. And the thing about it is that you have the Knight of Cups, the Page of Wands, the Three of Swords, the Fool, and then you have the Death card, I guess. But to clarify, the Temperance. Now, the Knight of Cups and the Page of Wands and the Three of Swords is about the level of understanding that you have attained, and also the heartbreak that a lot of you Geminis have actually conquered in your own selves, right? A lot of you Geminis have conquered a serious amount of heartbreak and sorrow within yourself. And at the same time, the Fool and the Unalive card also represents what the kind of self, the kind of part of yourself that you have really learned to transform, in that sense where you're no longer going to be taken just for as stupid because you sit around cracking jokes. You can't take anything seriously, and that's a detriment against you, because even when it's time for you to get serious about certain things, you don't want to take certain things seriously. No, I'm seeing a lot of you Geminis, the way that y'all are coming off now, you're going to be more direct with it, you know, where you know, you Geminis was always deep, where it's like y'all come off like y'all shallow and y'all want to play boo-boo the fool like y'all are shallow, but in actuality that's not really the case. But I just see a lot more of you Geminis now being straightforward with it, to where now it hits more home, where people can't say, yo, you Geminis are like the way that you were 7-10 years ago. Now it's like you're gonna say something that people really gonna be thinking about, and they're gonna be like, dang, Gemini really kind of, it's almost like a darkening, right? Like it's almost like you Geminis went from being too light to where it's too shallow. You don't want to deal with anything that's a little bit more deep and darker, to now you have this whole brand new part of yourself where it's like you still have your wonderful lighter side, but it's more so a side, but you're now more so the type of person that can actually communicate in a way where people really understand what it is that you're talking about, that shows depth in your character. So that's pretty much it. Comment on the video, like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel, share the video. I don't know where all that came from. That just came up on out of me. But there's a link in the comment section below called a Linktree link. Click on it. It will redirect you to a website which has all the ways to be able to get personal reading from me, birth chart reading, as well as the books that I have that on Amazon. And like it is, I said before, Gemini, the bigger I become, the more YouTube views I get, is the more those tarot reading prices will lower over time. Peace.